and we're going to go ahead and harvest this tomato because it is beautiful. These first ones have already matured, and it's time to get them off the plant. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the Back Garden Yard channel. And today's video is the one people have been waiting on. Thousands of people have been waiting on this video this year about the garden, because today we are going to go out and we are going to find some vegetables and pick them. We have been working so hard this year. I showed you how to make the seed starting mix. I showed you how to plant the seeds. I showed you how to transplant the plants. And now we are going to go ahead and pick some of the harvest. So let's go pick it. So the first thing we're going to pick are going to be the Asian eggplants. And they get a lot bigger than this, but these first ones have already matured, and it's time to get them off the plant. And so I'm going to go ahead and snip it off, put it in my pan. And there's another one over here, and the plants are very healthy. They make these beautiful purple blooms. And so you can see they're blooming out nice. There's going to be more eggplants coming. So here is the red romaine lettuce, and you can see that it is now bolted out. So if you'll cut the top off the bolted out lettuce, what'll happen is these leaves that are down here will stay tender, and it'll give you another week or so of being able to pick this lettuce, and that's very good. I've got a new patch started and they're coming up, but what I want to do is save this, so I won't do all that now, but I just wanted to show you that when this lettuce starts bolting, thing to do is to cut it down 3 or 4 inches, and then all this other will stay tender for a while as it tries to rebolt from the side. Here, this whole group from this fence post here to the end are just 5 Better Boy tomato plants, and that's one of the things we're going to be looking to harvest today. And let's take a look. And I wish you would look what I found. I found a Better Boy tomato, ripe and ready to harvest. Now, these tomato plants are suffering a little bit. They got too much rain back when we had rain every day for a week. And of course, you can see how this leaf shaded this plant. But I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off, and we're gonna go ahead and harvest this tomato because it is beautiful. I want you to look at this tomato. Better Boy tomato, bigger than my palm. But there's more. Here is another one. Let's go ahead and collect it. What a beautiful tomato. So we're going to put these in the basket. And next, while we're out here, let's take a look at the sweet potatoes that are being grown in these big tubs. These are just regular old storage totes that I converted into sweet potato growth. And these were the ones that were actually rooted, and these are the ones that were put in just stems with no roots. And you can see that these seem to be a little bit better color, but they're all growing. You can see where this is growing new leaves out now, and I've already shown that they've got roots, so we're not going to go into that today. But actually they've all survived, and they're looking really good on this hot June day. So now we're looking at the early girl tomatoes, and they don't make as big a tomato as the Better Boys, and usually they will come in a little earlier, but of course These were planted much later than the ones I just showed you and harvested. But the early girls are really putting them on now, and they're looking good. They've got a little bit of blight damage and water damage because they got too much rain during the rainy spell. So I'm gonna come back through here and cut these bottom leaves off. Now these are the yellow pear tomatoes, and they are in the lowest part of the garden, and they did flood out and they're suffering. And as you can see, the way they're suffering is they've got yellow leaves. They were overwatered. There was nothing I could do about it. And so even though they're making very, very nice tomatoes, the leaves are not looking good, but I think I've been able to save the plants, trying to make sure that I get a little better drainage out of here so water won't collect in case we have another rainy spell. And they are predicting possible thunderstorms every day for the next week. But anyway, the yellow pear tomatoes are really putting them on over here, so I'm looking forward to a good crop of them. Now we're looking at a wall of cucumbers. This is probably 20 to 25 feet of just Asian long cucumbers. And as you can see, they are getting loaded with little cucumbers. And so I'm expecting to start harvesting these next week, and they'll be in the video update next week. But they are just loaded with little cucumbers. So I can't wait now for them to start bearing. And when they get this tall up over the trellis, what you want to do is go ahead and trim off. I know it's hard to do, but trim off that top. And what that does is that makes these side shoots, it stimulates them even more to come out, and they'll grab the trellis also, and then you're going to have even more cucumbers coming up. So once they reach the top, instead of letting them fall over and break, go ahead and pop that top off. And the bugs like to hide in these tops also. So pop it off, and then that's going to stimulate all these little side shoots to come out and make you a whole lot more. But I'm about to get a huge crop of cucumbers, even though I don't have any today to show you. So as we walk to the back garden to take a look in what's growing in the back garden, let's look in here, and I can show you that the muscadines are now blooming, and it looks like they are loaded with little muscadines. So looks like after all this work of trimming and everything that I've showed you with the muscadines, they are looking fine, and they are loaded with muscadines that are blooming right now. So that'll be something to show later on. And then if we come over here, we can look at the Asian pear tree, and we can look and see that the little Asian pears are coming out nice. They're growing, and it looks like we'll have a very nice harvest later on of the Asian apple pears is what these are. So last week I showed the Silver Queen corn were starting to tassel. Well, now it's tasseled, and we're already starting to get corn silks showing. And of course the corn silks are what are going to catch the pollen from these blooms, the tassels, and of course they're going to make the corn. And this is the Korean corn, and this Korean corn actually sometimes it comes out with a purple stalk. Now check this out, a very purple stalk Korean corn. It's even got purple tassels, and what it'll do is it'll make mixed purple, and it will make purple and white and yellow corn. And so this is very, very interesting to see when you see that it comes out with these purple stalks. Here's another purple stalk, and actually another purple stalk. So that's what's going on here with the Korean corn, looking very nice, tasseling out. It doesn't get quite as tall or as big as the Silver Queen corn, but it still is doing very nice this year. Now here are the butternut squash, and as you can see, I have tied them up to the trellis, and I tied them up, and then of course their tendrils should catch the trellis and keep them holding on, and then they will make the little butternut squash. Let's see if I can find a little butternut squash. Here's one. So those will bloom and make butternut squash, and there's one. And I'll end up putting this one up on, once again, I'll put this up on the trellis. I'll have to tie them. They're not as sturdy as the cucumbers. But anyway, so I've got a very nice crop started of the butternut squash. There's one over there looking closer to ready to bloom. Now these are the Calabash squash, and they are running all over everywhere, and that's what I want. I want them to come out here and not go that way, and they are doing exactly what I want them to do. And as we can see, they're starting to make male blooms. That one will bloom tomorrow, and so there's a lot of blooms on this row, and they should be starting to make a few female blooms. There's a female coming out right there. When we get to the back, I can show you one that has already bloomed and made a little calabash squash, so we'll take a look at that in just a minute. Now this is a row of Better Boy tomatoes. Here there are just 3 plants, and you can see how I've got them nice and tied to the trellis, and they're putting on nice tomatoes. These were planted a little later than the ones I showed you up front that I just harvested from. These are early girl tomatoes, and they're doing very nice back here. And once again, they're tied up nice to the trellis. And then over here are some more of the yellow pear tomatoes, and they're actually looking better than the other ones because this area here is sloped and all the extra water drained off, so they are not drowning like the other ones were. And you can see they're putting on nice yellow pear tomato bunches. So I'm really happy with what's going on back here with the tomatoes. And then this is a row of okra, and the okra is now starting to grow out. It really likes the hotter weather, and it's been a long time coming, but we're having some now, and the okra is coming out, and it'll be about another month I start harvesting okra. So next we're looking at the grape crop, and that's the ones that's on this little side fence, and it's looking very nice. And then of course this one that's on this trellis here is just loaded with the grapes, but they are still growing out, not ready to harvest. We'll go on. I want you to look at these, are what they call the giant bell peppers, giant Chinese bell peppers. And look how big and thick that stalk is. And so these are all looking very nice, and I'm going to have to give them some support. I'll tie them up some way, because I can see that they're not going to be able to support big fruit without falling over or getting pulled over. And then these are the Asian peppers, and there's actually a couple of these almost ready to harvest, but I'm going to give them a couple more days. And so the Asian peppers are looking very, very nice back here. I'm getting good blooms on them, so I'm going to let them bloom some more, and then I'm going to fertilize them again. What I've done is I've cut the ends off of these. That's another tip. When your pumpkins or calabash squash are running really good, cut the ends off, and all the side branches are going to come out. and make even more that'll look like this coming out, and they'll cover the entire area. And that's what's going on over here. And so over here I've got, you can see where this one is getting ready to bloom. This is the female. You can see the little calabash squash under there, and here's the male. It's getting ready to bloom. There's one that bloomed today. Now let's go over here and I can show you one that has already bloomed. And here it is. And it looks like it has taken, I hand pollinated this one to make sure that it got pollinated. And it is looking very nice. So this may be my first calabash squash. So those of you familiar with my channel know that I tell you, do not twist off squash out of the middle. What you do is you will damage the main stalk. So what you want to do is you want to literally just get you some trimmers and cut the squash out. And so that way then you're not going to damage the stalk, because then those worms that get in there and destroy your plants are going to have a very easy way to get in. So here are 3 nice yellow squash that I have harvested from this one plant, and if we can see, it is just loaded with blooming squash. So there'll be plenty more coming in the very near future. And this is actually probably the biggest one I've harvested today. It's a straight neck. And we'll see if we can compare it with a crook neck, and you can see the difference in the size. The neck is much thicker on a straight neck than it is on a crook neck. Okay, and then the final thing we're going to do is look at the zucchini plants. This is another one of these zucchini plants, and let's see, I don't see any mature zucchini on it yet, but I see a lot of little ones starting to come out. Over here I have a zucchini to harvest. So once again, we want to get down in there and cut it out. We don't want to twist it out. There you go. And that's a beautiful zucchini here. And I see another one over here. Look at the size of these zucchini plants. Once again, here's my hand. These are all 3 hands, and they're huge. And if you remember, those who have been with the channel, I tried to grow vertical zucchini up stakes last year, and these big old plants just blew over and broke in half. So we won't be trying that anymore. So here is another zucchini that I've got to dig out, and let me see if I can get that. And this is a zucchini harvest today, and these are just perfectly sized zucchinis. They are going to be so delicious. And then finally, I have left them because they keep blooming because it hadn't been hot. Now it's finally got hot. But here's the snow peas, and there's one more picking of snow peas. Now I want to go ahead and get them out because I'm going to plant pole beans here. It's time to pick the beets. So let's go ahead and pull one. And this one barely made a little beet, but look at those nice red stems and those beautiful leaves. Now the stems are very, very edible, and so are the leaves. So what I'll do is I will clean this off and I will steam these. Put a little salt, pepper, and butter on them, and man, are we talking delicious. But anyway, let's go ahead and see if we can find some real beets here. There you go. Now we've got a beet. This looks like a big one. There you go. That's a full-size beet there. And once again, these are just totally delicious. Now, I don't know if you've ever cooked them, but once again, if you're going to put them in the refrigerator, you want to go ahead and cut the stems off right there by the beet, because what will happen is these will keep pulling nutrients out of the beet, and the beet won't be as tasty. So now we're taking a picture of the entire harvest today. We've got the zucchini squash, we've got the Better Boy tomatoes, we've got the crookneck squash and the straight neck squash, we've got the Asian eggplants, and we've got beets. And we are going to be eating good for the next couple of days off of this picking. And as I've shown, once it starts coming in, it keeps coming in for a while. But did you know it will be time to start the second garden now? And that's when you're going to go ahead and take tomato suckers and root them. We're going to go ahead and plant the second garden, and that'll probably be my next video in the next couple of days. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the start of the second garden. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please like and subscribe to the channel, and that way you won't miss the next update when we show even more tips and tricks to keep your garden producing. Thank you for watching.